Hello, this is Dr. Kamani, licensed clinical psychologist. And I want to ask you, does your toxic job meet expectations? Again, does your toxic job meet expectations? This is for Black women who have any type of history in a toxic job, because unfortunately, I've talked to so many Black women in the sense that when I ask them about a toxic job experience, they ask me which one. So if you're watching this video, you probably have at least one toxic job experience. So I wanted to just come on briefly to do it like a switch in terms of as employees, you are probably being evaluated and you have to meet with supervisors and they give you an evaluation. I want you or I invite you to do a job evaluation of your job to see if your job meets expectations. So I'm going to go over the different areas in terms of a job evaluation. And again, I invite you to think for your own job and see if your job meets the expectations. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through this from the perspective of the workplace bully that I previously had at the toxic job that I resigned from. So I'm going to evaluate her based upon these different areas of an evaluation. So you see kind of what I mean when I talk about it in terms of how you would go about doing the evaluation. So the first one is engagement. So how satisfied is she or your employee in the workplace? So actually, you know what? I think I'm going to do a merge of not only the workplace bully, but just the environment. And the reason why I want to do that is when I talk about toxic jobs, I mention frequently that a toxic job is not only about one person, it's generally the whole system because the system is complicit in that person's behavior or those people's behavior. So the whole system is toxic. So I think I'm gonna do the system. So I'll add like bonus points in relation to the workplace bully, but I'll talk about it in relation to the system. So in terms of engagement, so how do people in the workplace, the so-called supervisors, how do they present in the workplace? Are they enthusiastic? Do they seem positive? I would say at the previous toxic job that I came from, people were miserable. It was just like everybody was miserable. And just think about it, not everybody, but a lot of people appeared miserable. And again, I'm not saying everybody because some people were connected in other ways and they weren't necessarily miserable. But a lot of the people are miserable. So, in terms of not only those in administration, but also those who were the direct service staff. So, again, I'm looking at mental health, but then I'm also looking at across the school district because I work for a school district and I did a lot of work outside of my unit, outside of the mental health unit. I did a lot of work and I just the level of just low employee morale across the district was just so sad. And I was thinking as I would hear people talking and the back talking, like they would talk about each other, the gossip. I mean, I heard just stories that I wish I never heard about people's lives. But then the people will go back and smile each other's faces and just talk about them behind their back. So again, so when I look at engagement and I look at what's the quality of life for people at the job, do people seem satisfied? Do they have a sense of like I'm doing a good job? I appreciate my job. I respect my colleagues. And I would say my workplace did not do that at all. The next is energy. So, what type of energy are they bringing into the room? So, some of the administration had good energy, some were very positive and uplifting, some were not. So, when you think about energy, and I'm thinking particularly of the workplace bully, her energy was so toxic that before I had a meeting with her, I would have to go in the bathroom and pray. I would pray that God give me the clarity, to focus on what she was saying and to deal with whatever craziness she was dealing with or projecting that I'd be able to deal with that or be able to navigate it. Her energy was so toxic. Okay. So again, Think about those in the workplace and the energy. Now, for me, the benefit is that I had a lot of colleagues that I really liked. I even liked some of the people in administration too. And so my energy with them was good. However, it couldn't offset so much negative, toxic energy in the workplace. So, again, the energy. The next one is influence. So, what type of influence does this person or these people have in relation to the workplace? So, when I think about influence, I think about, are they treating everyone fairly, or do they have favorites? And are there cliques? And within those cliques, is that how people are getting promoted? Are people receiving information about certain things and other people are not? So, in terms of the workplace that I was in, I would definitely say there will be a big fat fail for that in terms of not meeting expectations, in terms of the influence. The next one is quality. So, what is the quality in terms of the leadership? So, again, a number of the people that I work with, administrators, they were great. Okay. So, this one, I think I'm going to do a special call out for the workplace bully. So, in terms of quality, um, I couldn't vouch for it at all. I often questioned, how did this person get this job? You may be in a similar situation too, where you are wondering, how did this person get this job? I was even to the point of thinking, this person, she must have something or somebody, or she may be connected with somebody some kind of way. I don't know what it is. I don't really want to know anymore. However, it didn't make any sense. And again, when you think about, other situations where I've talked about when you're in a toxic job and you're trying to figure out why people treat you that way because you're a good employee and you're dedicated and it doesn't make logical sense. This did not make logical sense. So I could not understand how this woman will continue to get promoted, even though her very questionable in terms of level of competence. And what I've said before, in terms of what you've heard me say, is the projected incompetence. I saw a lot of that, not only in terms of what she did with me, but I saw her do it with other people. And you may see that when you're in a toxic workplace, that you may see the toxicity throughout the system. So the person or the people may spew this toxicity across the board. So you just see in terms of their interactions. But what you may also see is that they might be one way with one group of people and another way with another group of people. So one of the videos that I did was, you can't say that you stand with Black people, and treat your Black staff like the N word. So I had got into quite a bit of got a lot of pushback, when I would talk about or ask about the rights of Black children because I was working in the school district. And whenever I would say that, this person would push back and say, well, we're talking about all kids. And there was this unspoken understanding throughout the unit, particularly amongst Black staff, that this person definitely gave preferential treatment to people who were not Black. Now, she did have her Black friends, right? We all know about the Black friends who, I can't be this way because I have a Black friend. So we all know about Black friends and in certain situations, and the all skin folk and kin folk. We all know about that. So this person would often engage in this behavior. And again, most Black staff within that unit were thinking, she is not for Black kids, but we got to do what we need to do. However, when George Floyd was murdered, and all these organizations, including the school district, oh my God, what are we going to do? We stand with Black lives, we stand with Black students. All this stuff is very much performative. And I remember even it got to the point I could not even stand to hear her voice. And we were doing COVID, so I didn't have to interact with her directly, thank God. So she was up, we had this thing about standing with Black students or whatever, and she actually got up there and was talking about how important it is to stand with Black students. And I'm trying to listen to her, even though I wanted to just leave the room. But I'm trying to listen to her. But it was very difficult because as I'm listening to her, I'm thinking, how in the world can you say that you believe in, you stand for the rights of Black students, but you treat your Black staff horribly? You treat your Black staff like the N word. And I was thinking about, this leads to my next one in terms of people skills. So, in terms of quality of the relationships and people skills, this woman was known to be horrible across the board. Okay. So she was known to be a bully to many, many, many people. And when we talk about misuse of power, that was a classic example of that. Now, when I talk about things that she did, again, I was very aware that she was a bully. So it wasn't a surprise when it happened to me. Um, it wasn't a surprise because I'd heard of and seen so many other situations. I had heard of situations in which she was in a meeting with other administrators and made the administrators cry and just kept going on. Again, this is somebody in mental health. So that, and then there was this, when you talk about the elephant in the room in terms of culture within the workplace, many people who had been there, and I would say all the people who had been within that unit for a certain period of time, we were all aware of a situation in which a Black woman was treated just really bad, okay, in the workplace by this woman. We were all aware of that. We saw what happened to the Black woman. We saw the impact that it had on her. And in fact, she is one of my previous guests. So you can go through my YouTube channel to see her video, and it was Still I Rise. So again, Still I Rise on my YouTube channel. But we all saw the impact that this had on this Black woman who was very well respected, very intelligent, together, Black woman. And we saw this woman in terms of engaging in character assassinations of her to the point where the Black woman eventually left. She ended up suing. She took legal action and got a settlement. So again, when I talk about the system knows about these toxic people because the district had to pay because of this bully. So this bully is still, operating. And, it was this unspoken, it was like this, I guess, bad energy within the unit that so many people knew what this woman had done, but yet she gets up and talks about mental health and supporting the needs of Black students. Okay. So again, now the last thing is results. So when you are thinking about your toxic job, think about the results. So I think the vast majority of the people that I used to work with in the mental health unit were very committed to the work. I think that they did the best that they could in terms of resources that they had and a lot of talent, a lot of talent. So a lot of really good work. However, I also want to say that they were able to do this work even though they may have experienced being micromanaged or disrespected or looked over, particularly in terms of like promotions. I've seen a lot of people who are extremely well qualified, have all the credentials, all the experience, and cannot seem to promote. And it's very curious because the people who are often promoted, in terms of what I have seen, are not competent. They're not competent. So, how is it that these people who are very well qualified and competent are not able to promote? So, think about the impact that has on employee morale. So, I want to say all these things. So, hopefully, you were able to see by my example that I was able to go through the different areas in terms of like a job evaluation. And so for me, I would say absolutely that job did not meet expectations. Now, when I first started working there, it had glowing exceeds expectations. But by the time I was started leaving, it was way below meeting expectations. So I just want you to take this time in terms of taking your power back, evaluate the environment that you're in to see, is this even the environment that I want to be in? If this environment is way below meeting expectations, then that means you are clearly not going to be growing because it's not a conducive environment for your growth. So think about what are your options. Start exploring your options. And I also want to say, I want us to take this opportunity to do this because I wish more um, employers or organizations provide opportunities for employees to do evaluations on their so-called supervisors. I think the results would be startling. I think that, those in upper management would see this and say, wait a minute, these people who are undermining employee morale, who are micromanaging and undermining the sense of I would say efficacy in terms of doing the work and agency, they're undermining all of that. And this is not helpful in terms of productivity. So I think if employers were able to see this, I think that workplace bullies would be expelled more often, right? That just let's get this poison out of our system in terms of identifying. Just like when you talk about other fields, they talk about the rotten apples. So the workplace bullies are the rotten apples. So we need to get the rotten apples out of these organizations because they're going to taint and poison and make the other, things or other people not be able to work to their full potential. And so that again undermines the success of the organization. So again, I just want to come on and talk to you about, is your job meeting expectations? And if it doesn't, let's start exploring options in terms of other jobs that do meet expectations and know that you have choice and you can choose what organizations that you want to work in and organizations that support your growth and that respect you. And if you might be at this place like I am, I'm at the place now. I am so jaded about organizations because of what I've experienced that now I'm like, I just want to do my stuff on my own. So you might be in a similar place. And if so, you may want to do things on your own, but worry about finances, worried about the next steps. Then I would say look into getting a Black woman business coach. And so I'll put that information in the directory about how to find a Black woman business coach. So S. Emery Archer, the anti-HR lady, has a Black women's coaches directory. And she has a YouTube channel. So you can check out, you can see all the Black women coaches and see which one you might align with and contact that person, okay? Because coaches, having Black women coaches, helped me get to where I am right now. I would have not been able to get to this point if I did not have Black women coaches. And I still have Black women coaches. And I strongly advocate for you to get Black women coaches too. Now, if you're in a situation where you're already in therapy, you've already gotten a business coach, or maybe you're kind of on the fence about getting a business coach, but you still feel stuck. I talk about the masterclass replay. It was incredible, the masterclass. Even though you missed the live, you can still access the replay. So the masterclass is save yourself, channel your inner Harriet, so that you leave that toxic, hostile job with your sanity and your coins. So it's a collaboration between S. Emery Archer and I. So I'll talk about the psychological healing, and she talks about HR being empowered in relation to interacting with HR. She gives you templates. So again, you can access that, the replay, by clicking the link in the description section. So as I'm winding down, I again invite you to evaluate your own job, take your power back, and see, what are you working with? Do they deserve you? You're the talent, you're the gift. Did they deserve you? Remember that, okay? So if you have not already done so, please give this video a thumbs up. It tells YouTube to suggest this video to other Black women who are in similar situations. And also, can you please share this video with another Black woman so that Black women who are in toxic jobs might feel lost, just as you might feel lost. This may be why you even check this video or listen to it. So can you share this with another Black woman too? Okay. So I'm signing off. If you have not already subscribed to my channel, please do so. Lifting as we climb, consulting, wellness services. And again, remember to give this video a thumbs up. Okay, take care. Bye bye.